Hey everyone, it's Rudy here and welcome to episode 1 of Media Sales Strategies with Rudy. Just a little background about me. I've lived in the UK for over 20 years and worked for the vast majority of them in media sales. Media sales is an industry that I'm personally passionate about. It's also one that I feel anyone can get into without any specific qualifications. And one that can be also particularly commercially rewarding if you've got the right drive and the right motivation. With that in mind, I've been regularly keeping my eyes open on YouTube to see if there was anyone else really focusing on this topic, on this industry, and I couldn't really find any resources out there of particular significance. So by all means, if you have seen someone or somebody that is delivering some really good content online on YouTube, please put it on the comments section below. I'll be interested to find out more about it and to potentially talk to them to partner with. So throughout this series, I'm going to be focusing on what media sales is all about, what it takes to become successful at it, and we're also going to be covering a lot of the different challenges that occur with customers and prospect customers that are sitting on the other side of the table. I'm looking to make these episodes as educational, constructive and applicable as possible, so feel free to add in the sections below in the comments any particular questions that you have about anything that I'm saying here, or even if you've got anything that you'd like me to cover in the future episodes. So today I want to particularly address those newly graduates who are out there and thinking on how to get a start in the workplace and looking for some ideas, and those that are currently in the workplace and are potentially thinking about new career changes, new opportunities, and also looking at a complete change of direction. Media sales is one of those terms that can mean different things to different people. But chances are that when you are talking about media sales, you're predominantly focusing on subscription, advertisements, and events and conferences sales. When I finished university, I didn't really have like a clear idea on what kind of career I wanted to pursue, and I just went to a few different fairs, and I just talked to some friends that had perhaps already been started working for a year or so. And what I found is that sales was one of those industry that had a very sort of low entry point of experience. While I was looking around for jobs, it also became really apparent that sales seemed to me one of the only career paths where there was an opportunity to make a substantial amount of additional earnings beyond your basic salary if you had the right level of motivation for it. This is definitely one of those things that attracts newly graduate to the profession, particularly if you're living in London. It's a very expensive city to live in, and media sales give you the opportunity to actually be making some really substantial commissions from the get-go. But it's also an industry that is going to be constantly testing your ability to deliver high performance, and where employers will have a tendency of not giving you a lot of chances if you're not delivering numbers. My very first job straight out of uni was in fact with one of the largest conference businesses out there, and I remember very vividly noticing that there was such a high turnover of staff, and it does bring some fear in you, but that fear is certainly one of the very key drivers that will propel you forward. Now, depending on what type of media sales you are in, you are going to be required to be doing a lot of prospects outreach, whether that is via telephone, whether it is via face-to-face meetings, emails, etc., etc. So definitely one of the key things that you need to have in you is the ability and willingness to be talking to people. Different businesses are going to have different metrics of measuring your performance, but in most cases, you are going to be given the so-called KPIs, which stand for Key Performance Indicator. These are essentially the things that the business is expecting of you. And normally they translate in this profession in things like amount of call time, amount of calls, amount of proposals, and amount of closed deals. Depending on the type of company that you decide to join, your boss is going to be either more or less fixated on these KPIs. And what I mean by that is that certain employers are going to be more interested about the type of results that you're able to generate versus other ones where you really are going to be focused uniquely on trying to deliver those KPIs every single day. I'm, for instance, a big fan of the whole work smarter rather than harder type of school of thinking. But the reality is that that volume of activity that you're putting out there, especially at the beginning, that's where your experience is going to come from. That's how you're going to learn the job. That's how you're going to learn how to deal with different people, different type of objections, different type of scenarios, and ultimately those calls over time are going to translate to a better closing rate for your sales. What drove me to conferences within media sales, it was actually this whole idea of being able to travel, being able to go to the actual events, and being able to actually meet your customers, which it has to be part of the joy of the job. And if you're working with a slightly more international or international reaching type of business, you're likely to go to some nice places. I, for example, got to travel the US a lot. I got to go to different places in Asia Pacific, and it's also an opportunity for you to grow as a person, learn new cultures, and bond in a non-work environment with your working peers. Financially speaking, especially as you're getting started, your basic salary is probably not going to be as attractive looking as the one of your buddy that has perhaps gone to marketing, IT, or some other job function, right? But most employers will promise in commission an opportunity for you to potentially double or more your salary with those commissions. And for all of those youngsters or newly graduates that are watching this video now, you also want to keep in mind that media sales has got the tendency of attract a lot of youngsters. So especially as you're getting started at the beginning, you're going to find that a lot of your peers are going to be probably around your similar age group. And even as you grow into the job, you are probably going to be still in a pretty fresh environment. The very last point I want to make is about training and development. Something that I really liked when starting in media sales was the fact that I was given a lot of sales training, so generic sales training on how to do day-to-day business transaction with people, but also training specific to the profession, right? And I know that these days particularly there are a lot of free resources online, and I would highly encourage everybody to do a lot of personal development outside of the workplace. But don't be afraid of telling your boss, hey, I don't feel like I've got all of the necessary skills for this or for that. In other words, don't be afraid of asking for help, especially at the beginning. You're not expected how to sell like the Wolf of Wall Street, and you're not expected to be the best salesperson from day one. So guys, I hope you find this video helpful. I'm going to be trying to put this out as regularly as possible. Please add in the comments below anything that you'd like me to cover in future episodes. And if you've got any questions about this episode, anything that I said, or anything that you also want to bring into my attention, then I will be super happy to hear it. And of course, if you want to subscribe and if you want to listen more to these media sales tips, then press the subscribe button below, the little bell for a reminder of whenever I got something live again. And I hope to see you guys soon.